miles an hour, gusts much higher than that, bringing with her all kinds of problems. Buildings have collapsed. There are reports from New Orleans of people trapped in buildings that have come down around them. They have made desperate calls to 911 asking for help, asking for rescue, but the rescuers can't get out. It's simply too dangerous right now in those plus 135-mile-an-hour winds to put anybody out on the streets. Those people who ignored the evacuation orders, or maybe for one reason or another didn't get them, are simply going to have to wait and rescue themselves until the worst of this storm passes. At least one levee has broken in New Orleans, leading to some localized flooding, but there could be far worse still to come as the storm surge and as the rainfall from Hurricane Katrina hits. In Alabama, the National Guard has been dispatched to Mobile and Baldwin counties. They are expecting some severe damage there, and we're seeing that in live pictures from our Steve Harrigan.
All right, let's go to Louisiana, specifically French Quarter of New Orleans. Shepard Smith joining us live on the phone. Hey, Shep.
Bridget, good morning or afternoon or wherever we are now.
What does Shell have in the Gulf?
Well, Shell has been a big player in the Gulf of Mexico with our offshore operations for several decades. In all, we have several onshore operations as well in the Gulf Coast area. We have about 4,000 employees total in Louisiana.
And are all the personnel out?
Yes, we began evacuating our offshore personnel early as we were watching the development of Hurricane Katrina and instituted our hurricane preparedness and response plan. We began evacuating the personnel from the offshore facilities.
We're doing a podcast
and then,
tonight. We're interviewing Doc.
last
She was in
night,
Hurricane Katrina. There you go.
Completed evacuating personnel from our onshore facilities, our refineries, and our chemical plants. And then began the shutdown process for those facilities as well.
Chris, those offshore oil rigs, could you give us an estimate of how much oil comes through there a day?
Like, it was all over the news. Like,
sorry, guys.
At first, oh my God.
No, sorry. I had that little small thing was going on. I think everybody should be good now. Can you hear them?
Chat.
Yeah, okay.
Hello,
all right, we should be good. Sorry, I forgot I turned that little Katrina small on.
Ryan said he can't really hear us.
All right, check it out now. Sorry.
Test. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Hello. We're gonna have a little.
Give a thumbs up.
We're gonna have a little
issues. If you can hear
us.
Suck my balls, Kenny.
I got him. Still very quiet.
Ryan said still very quiet.
Sounds good on mine.
Hey, Ryan, have you pumped up the volume?
Yeah, turn your phone up, Ryan. Sounds good on.
All right.
Sounds good on mine.
I can hear you. Okay. Hi, Silver. How are you? Hi.
Sorry, I forgot to turn that. I forgot I turned that on. So, all right, we're gonna go back into it. Tonight we're doing a podcast. Whitney's gonna be telling us her experience in Hurricane Katrina. So, we're here.
Yep.
Do your thing, Whit.
All right. Yeah. So for those that didn't hear, I was in Katrina. I was born a little on the outskirts of New Orleans. Probably like 25 minutes away from New Orleans. You just have to like cross the Causeway Bridge, which is like this huge long ass bridge that connects New Orleans to the surrounding cities and whatnot. But anyways, yeah, I was 14 years old, 7th grade. We knew that a storm was coming, but it was mainly a tropical storm at the time. So we weren't like really like prepping for it, you know, like nobody was really doing much about it. We were just kind of on the low end of things. And then, so we kept up with the news and everything. It started getting worse. Like it went from like, I think a category 1 to a 3, like as soon as it got to like the Gulf. And so like me and my mom were just like kind of sitting there like looking, and we weren't really like, they weren't evacuating us right away. I know they were evacuating like the city of New Orleans. It wasn't like a mandatory evacuation because like at the time, like they thought that the levees could like hold everything. Like they were, you know, basically praising the levees, like, oh, the levees are gonna like hold, they're gonna hold, and that we would all be okay.
The levee gods.
Yeah, they were all like, it's gonna be okay. But at the very last minute, obviously it wasn't okay. It ended up breaking basically and busting and pretty much flooded the entire city of New Orleans. But at the time before that happened and before Katrina, like, you know, basically did its disaster, me and my mom, it was just me and my mom and then my grandmother, and we had cousins and aunts and uncles that lived like maybe 2 hours away. So they were like they had a whole basement and a generator and all that stuff ready to go. But since we were so close to New Orleans, we were like 25 minutes from New Orleans, and they were like 2 hours. We ended up going, evacuating to the Superdome because it was a lot closer to us. And at the time, we were living in a trailer, which, you know, wasn't the typical place to be when you have a Category 5 hurricane with 175 miles per hour winds.
Nope.
So...
No.
It becomes a kite.
The day, I think it was the 22nd of August. So Katrina happened on the 25th, I believe. It was either the 24th or 25th, I forget.
August 23rd. Sorry.
23rd. So the 21st, I believe, or the 20th, me and my mom, we got like a cab and we went to the Superdome. From there, yeah, it was scary. It was, I mean, you got a Superdome that can hold millions of people, and it was all kinds of people. You had homeless people, just all kinds of people that were in there. And obviously they had like, you know, like policemen and all that kind of stuff in there. So, but it was still scary at age 14 with my mom, you know, it was definitely scary. But from there, like, you know, we sat there. We were able to like go outside for like, you know, for people who had to smoke or something like that, but they were trying to like not let people go out there, you know, because of how bad it was. And what I could really remember is like just seeing, you know, like tornadoes, flooding. I mean, the Superdome flooded a little bit, but they had it pretty stacked up to where it wasn't, you know, flooding too bad. And they had a bunch of cots and stuff.
I remember seeing footage of the sandbags.
Yeah, sandbags to hold
around.
the sandbags to kind of hold the water from getting super bad inside. And then they had 2x4, or not 2x4s, but like wood pieces to cover the windows, so that way, you know, if the windows broke or whatever, we'd be kind of, you know, safe. But from there, we stayed there for like maybe a week or two. They weren't really letting people out until, because I mean, obviously there's a bunch of stuff that they have to hold, like a lot of debris, a lot of trees down, a lot of just people that, I mean, dead people that they had to like, you know, clean up and stuff. So like they had buses and stuff to like help people get to where they needed to go to escort people out. But after all that, like after we were done, we went back to our house when the time was, you know, appropriate. And I mean, there's nothing left. There's literally nothing. Everything in our town was pretty much swiped. And like I said, at the time I was in 7th grade. So like we were supposed to go to school the next day after Katrina happened. And obviously that didn't happen. So we ended up staying with a friend for a second. Her house wasn't destroyed. I mean, it was kind of like a little bit destroyed, but not like enough to where you couldn't like habitate inside. And so I just remember that we were out of electricity for like 2 months. We couldn't go to grocery stores. There's no like...
God, yeah.
Yeah, they sent the FEMA people sent like MREs, like the military foods. So we had to eat that. There's a ton of water stations that were throughout the town and stuff like that. Eventually, like we stayed with my mom's friend for like a week or two. And then after that, we ended up getting a ride because there was a big like tree that was out by my cousin's house, and so we couldn't, even if we wanted to go there, we couldn't like drive there because like you couldn't get to their house. So eventually the community or something got the tree up, and we were able to go to their house because they had like a generator, backup food, all kinds of stuff. Like they were super prepared. So we ended up going there and stayed there for like a month, and then eventually, like, you know, things kind of calmed down. The electricity came back. They were rebuilding a bunch of buildings and stuff like that. But we ended up having to go to school like in the summertime because of how much school. I think it was like 2 months of school that we missed. But yeah, I mean, that's the gist of it. That's like the main things that I can kind of remember and know that it was scary, like being 14 years old, like not knowing, like, and being with just your mom, and like, you know, you don't know what to expect, and nobody really knew what to expect because nobody was like really, you know, like what is the word, they weren't really planning for it because they kept saying, oh, the levees are gonna hold, you know, so nobody was like really, you know, planning for it. So it was kind of like it happened all at once, and everyone's just kind of like, what do we do? So yeah, that's pretty much my little spiel about my experience a little bit.
That's kind of her story. And chat, the whole time we're doing this, if you guys have any questions for Whit, or you guys want us to ask any questions to Whit, Mike, Bandana, and Matt, and Mike, Bandana, and Whit can also see the chat on their computers too, so they can they can kind of answer the questions as we go too. So
yeah.
Hey, Whit, without doxing like where exactly you were, can you show us on Google Earth, Philly?
If I can pull it up, yeah.
Like where approximately where she was?
Yeah, it's Covington. So, literally,
you don't have to show the street name or anything like that, but like
I'm showing the exact house, bro.
No, it's just the rinky-dink trailer park I used to live in. Like, it's
the exact.
I don't even know if it's
right there.
I don't even know if it's there. If you look up Covington High School, that's near where I was at.
Google Street.
Turns out it's not on the map anymore.
Street view.
Just kidding. All right.
But yeah,
One second, let me copy.
It's like 25 minutes from New Orleans or so. Like basically, you have like Covington, Mandeville, and then once you get a little past Mandeville, you get on the bridge, and the bridge is like a 30-minute to 45-minute. Oh my god.
I mean, you can't resize it. I mean, I mean, let's see.
You gotta show where New Orleans is.
I have no idea where New Orleans is in connection to
It's
this.
at the bottom.
Oh yeah, okay. So Whitney was right. Where to go? Whitney was right here.
Yep, and
New
the
Orleans
Katrina
is right
hit. Yep. So Katrina hit right at the boot and broke all the the levees and all that good stuff, and it just got worse after that.
I mean, that's how close in relation they are. She was here. They were here.
And all that's water.
Yep.
And then
and that water, that's where the Causeway Bridge is.
This is all water right here.
Yeah.
And then
so
this is all
came from the ocean and like.
I mean,
from the Gulf.
This is
Bahamas. Yeah.
I mean, this is the ocean right here.
Yeah, that's the Gulf right there. Yeah.
And you got all of this.
Just for context, so people who aren't like geographically inclined.
Yeah, I mean, all of this water came in this way, went to this, I mean, relatively large lake that feeds into another large lake. And I'm sure this is all swamp, because this is like, yeah, it is swamp. There you go.
So basically that big like thing that you're showing, that big body of water, that's where the causeway, that's how to get from, so the end like on the top of where the water is where like Mandeville is, and then you get on the Causeway Bridge. It takes like 30 minutes to get on that. It's a very, very long bridge. And I mean, you couldn't even see the bridge when Katrina was happening. Like, it was completely covered. Obviously we didn't, like, we were already past that point once we went, to the Superdome. There's a Superdome right there, I think.
New Orleans is like a bowl, right? Like it's like a big bowl.
It's like, yeah, it's basically like a giant bowl, like filled with swamps and things. But yeah, I think that's a Superdome that he's showing.
This is a Superdome, yeah. The Caesar Superdome.
You can't miss it. It's huge. You can see it off the interstate. It's a big dome.
Were there people in this building too? Was this here, the Smoothie King place?
I don't know, to be exact. I'm assuming. But there was a lot of people. Like, I
remember
imagine telling
news reports of people walking up that interstate there.
Yeah, people are walking because
Yes.
people are literally just walking. I mean, then there was people getting arrested too, which was crazy. Like I know they have to do their jobs and stuff, but like that's the last thing that we're just trying to get people safe, and like, you know, it was a lot.
Well, there was a lot of looting and everything too, so.
Oh yeah, it was bad. It was bad.
So going.
You guys want me to read off a couple
Yeah. Your thing.
kind of like facts for it? So this is from so Hurricane Katrina was one of the deadliest hurricanes that hit the United States. Estimated 1,833 people died. Millions left homeless. 161 billion in damage, and is the costliest hurricane on record. Came in on August 23rd, 2005. And then Storm Katrina, August 24th. Made landfall in Florida, August 25th, all the way through the Gulf. Made landfall in Louisiana on the 29th, with classified as a Category 3 record speeds of 140 miles per hour, wind speeds, that is. Wind gusts up to 100 miles per hour. Yeah, that's fucking crazy. 80%.
Yeah, imagine seeing that in life, in real life. It was crazy. Like I remember like I just remember like looking out, like, because you can kind of see like a little bit outside, because I wanted to, my mom smoked at the time, so like she went out like right before things like hit the fan, and she like, we saw so many, like there was like little micro tornadoes, and then you could like see 5 of them like just kind of whipping around. It was crazy.
All right, so what did it sound like when it was like dead nuts on?
Well, what did it sound like before? Like, what was the level of anxiety and stress as it was coming?
So like, it was like a normal day. Like, you know, it obviously it's gonna be like, you know, when you get like a thunderstorm or something, it's dark outside and stuff like that. But it was kind of calm. Like, to be honest, like it was calm. Everything was peachy. Like, and then all of a sudden, in a matter of seconds, it went from calm to like death. Basically the way to describe that is like, if you've ever heard of hail coming down, because obviously it hailed. It was like golf, like big like balls of like hail just coming down. The wind, you couldn't even like hear yourself outside. Like the wind was so bad that you couldn't really. I remember seeing a news, because we were watching the news obviously, and there was like a news guy that was literally outside, and you could like see to where the wind was about to take him up because it was so like bad. But yeah, it was really loud, and lightning. I mean, it was all kinds of stuff.
So it started like basically any other storm. Like, you didn't think anything else was going on, right?
Yeah, because like I said, nobody thought that it was, you know, because when it hit, it was only Category 3. It was, 140 mile per hour winds is crazy, and yes, it was loud as far as the wind goes, but like nobody was really like, you know, prepping for it. Honestly, like everyone was.
So basically, all the bread and milk were still on the shelves.
Yeah, I guess at that, I don't really remember that much because, you know, my mom did all the grocery shopping.
Yeah,
so, like, you know, I don't really know, but like I know that nobody was really evacuating. Like, we weren't on a mandatory evacuation until like the day before. Like literally, like nobody had time to really like go. You know,
August
that's why
28th.
I said,
August 28th is when the mandatory came in.
Yeah, so we didn't leave until like a day or two before it actually like got to where it was mandatory. And we weren't going to leave. Like, my mom was like one of those like, oh, I'm gonna stay here and ride it out. And and my grandmother was like, no, you need to go, because like literally we were in a trailer, a single wide trailer that literally like could have flown away basically, which it did, you know. And so like, you know, we.
So your mom listened to your grandmother and took the advice. And
Eventually, it took some convincing, but she eventually was like, "Yeah, we need to go." And I wasn't like scared. Like, I mean, I was scared a little bit. It was like a day or two before this, like the mandatory evacuation, because people were already like, they already had like an evacuation, like a if you want to go, you can go, but if you don't want to, you don't have to. And even through the mandatory evacuation in New Orleans, there are still people that still would not go because they're like, oh, it's not going to be bad. It's not going to be, you know, bad. And so, like, you know, a lot of people lost their lives that day because they didn't think it was going to be bad. But obviously, as you can see in the news feeds that's on the stream, like, it was bad. It was bad. It got bad. So,
I think I may have a picture of the levee on my desktop.
Yeah, that levee, it survived a lot, but it obviously did not survive that.
I'll grab one now. All right, Mike, you can continue.
Actually, I got a bunch of questions, but
let's hear them.
So when y'all evacuated, like, did you drive? Did you walk?
We drove.
Like,
so we got a sorry, vape juice or vape smoke in my throat. We got a taxi because, like, at the time, like, my mom, like, didn't want to drive in it, so we just got, like, back then you didn't have like Ubers or Lyfts or anything, so we literally called a taxi and it brought us straight to. Obviously it took like freaking forever because everybody and their grandmas were leaving, so took like what it would have taken like 30 minutes, it took like almost 2 hours to get to where we needed to go.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
I'm bringing up a photo of the levees now.
Noise.
I want to see it again.
It's funny because I can see it on my screen, but you can't see it on the stream.
I know. Barbie. I mean,
that's kind of, what is that? Is that the levee?
That's after the levees had been taken over with water.
Yeah. So you see the things on the side, like the things on the side, like you can see that's where the levee is, and then obviously it's no more. Yeah. Well, I mean, I think they rebuilt it. I don't really. So. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they
rebuilt them like it should have been.
Yeah, they.
That's all I was
right.
Now I can say like when I've been in Virginia since Katrina. Like the whole after that happened. My dad thought it was best that I come because, you know, obviously like we didn't have a house or anything, so like. We were basically living at my aunt's house for a little while until they started rebuilding stuff. Eventually my mom got like, you know, help and stuff and everything was, you know, peachy, but my dad thought it was safer and better for me to come here. And he lived in DC, well, Baltimore, DC, closer to that area. So I came here. And then I went back when I was like 18, I believe. And I mean, it was still like because I went to, like I stayed in New Orleans, because that's where my mom lives now. And they rebuilt, I mean, at 18, what year was that? I'm old now, I don't remember. But that was, I'm trying to think of the year. If I'm 32 now, 18, what year was that? I'm bad at math.
That would have been like 2009 or something if you were 18.
Yeah, so 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Yeah, somewhere
no, hold on, 14, 15, 16, 17, 8. Yeah, something around that. But anyways, so like when I went back, they had already like rebuilt a bunch of crap. Like there's still like people out of jobs. There's still buildings that needed to be rebuilt. But even in the like 4 or 5 years after that, like they did a lot of work.
So this is actually the levees now. And this is during Hurricane Isaac, which coincidentally made landfall on August 28th and 29th. So
yeah, August is considered hurricane season.
Yeah.
So right now they're in hurricane season right now. So it'll be like what 2023, 2005,
Well,
18 years ago.
Yeah, and this was 2012, it looks like. And this is a 133-mile federal levee system. It's a big bitch.
Yep, that was supposed to be in place, but didn't.
Yeah, we won't. Yeah, it's a lot, but
there's a lot of political stuff here, but we won't.
And this is estimated between
14. That is, what do you say? Sorry.
Sorry, this is estimated between 14 and 15 feet, and it says it rivals the height of the surge that Katrina brought. So you had a shit ton more. So
yeah, I think that's what they needed in the first place, but like I said, we're not going to get into that. But at the same time, like, I'm glad like they put that in now. I mean, it would have been nice, you know, during Katrina, it would have alleviated all the shit that went through, but like you know, I'm glad that they have that now, you know, to not have that happen again, you know.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Mike, fire it off again. I have photos to show, but I'm kind of just waiting until.
Yeah.
It's 32 feet tall, by the way. Big levee is.
When you guys came back to the trailer, was there anything salvageable, or
I mean,
was everything gone?
It was pretty much everything was gone. I mean, it was a bunch of debris. I don't know if you can bring up photos of like what it like a photo of like what it looked like.
Yeah.
I don't know how to. Yeah, I was gonna say maybe you have something to show.
I mean, this is like while it's going on. Where'd that photo go? Oh, there it is. Photos keep
I was gonna see if you can find like a like.
Oh no, I'm just going
disaster.
through my photos.
Yeah, that's looks like a bus in the air, which wouldn't surprise me because I mean
that is a neighborhood.
Yeah, that's one of the neighborhoods, but it was just a bunch of debris. Like think of like like a trash site. That's pretty much what it looked like.
Mud, trash, and water.
Yep, and just a bunch of debris. It took them months and months and months to like
I mean, that's a grocery
get the
store.
cleanup going. Yeah, that's one in New Orleans.
Well, what was your favorite MRE?
So I enjoyed
not laughing, sorry.
No, like I actually like good. I thought it was cool. Like, I mean, I thought it was like, you know, yeah, Katrina was intense, like it was crazy, but I thought it was like a little vacation because, you know, I was out of school for like 2 months. Like I didn't, you know, not having electricity was kind of interesting and awful at the same time, but like we made it work. Living off of like sandwiches and MREs, but like my favorite MRE was, so it's hard to explain, but it was like this pasta stuff and literally could boil the water. Like it was a little like pot, like a paper pot, and you could like boil the water. And then I always went into the MREs, like my mom didn't know, but like I would go into the MREs and like snag all the crispy M&Ms.
All right, so let's show this photo big real quick, just so we can see what it looks like. This is, you said this was a Causeway Bridge.
Yep, that's the Causeway Bridge.
No, I don't think this isn't the Causeway Bridge. This is a smaller bridge. So this, I'm guessing up here, up top.
Underwater.
I'm guessing up here, up top is downtown New Orleans. Up there.
Yeah, that's downtown.
But I mean, these are full size houses and buildings, and they're probably within 4 or 5 feet of being.
That might be that. No, that's not, because the houses are too close to the bridge.
Yeah.
The causeway was literally all you could see was water, and once you got closer to New Orleans, you could start to see like the top of the bridge. I mean, the top of the buildings and stuff.
But I mean, if you look here at the bridge and then look to the like north,
yeah, that bridge was completely under.
This whole section of road is just
gone.
That's crazy. All right, so I guess now, what were some of the things you've seen when you came back? Mike said, hold on.
As far as like going to like
Mike said, hold on 1 second.
Oh, okay.
Give Mike a little break. I think we're about to get an ad break in a second anyway. So. But we do appreciate you guys coming in for this. This is pretty cool. If you guys enjoy this content, we'll be doing more of this content. I mean, it doesn't matter if you guys enjoy it, because we're honestly going to do more of it anyway. Right, Matt? Matt? Is he dead?
Earth to Matt. How
Hello?
long did it take for all the water to dissipate? So like I said, I was 14 when this all happened, so I don't really remember the logistics of it, but I know it took a long time. Eventually, like, you know, the water started, you know, panning out and stuff, but I want to say it took like a month or like almost 2 months. Like I said, we didn't get electricity back for 2 months. We didn't there after that, like even after the 2 months, like there still wasn't grocery stores or anything really, like, you know, like up and running and stuff. Like, I mean, you have to think a grocery store has all this food in it without electricities or generators to be able to power that. All the food is bad, so like they literally had to rebuild all the grocery stores. I mean, you think that like people like that would have like generators and stuff, but like you couldn't get the generators to even like work because of all the water. Like, I mean, they were all ruined.
Yeah, so some parts of New Orleans got to an estimated of 15-foot high of water.
Yeah.
That's a lot of water.
And even the Superdome, even putting up the sandbags and stuff, like the water still came in there. Like it wasn't enough to like where we weren't able to like, you know, lay down and stuff, but like it got a little liquidy.
A little liquidy, yeah.
I can imagine.
I could imagine like with all the people in this Superdome.
Oh my
like,
God, there's
I mean,
so
I can imagine, because I've been to like a bunch of homeless shelters that were just stacked with people, cots. Not the same thing,
right,
but
little different.
yeah. Wait, I mean, and I'm thinking too. Like, I mean, it's a Superdome. They've got, you know, restrooms and stuff. I mean, because you know, there was football. You know,
there's restrooms and like there was like locker rooms and stuff like that.
Did they have
and
power?
there were showers. They had showers there, but no. Well, yeah, they had power for a little bit. They had like, they tried to get the generator, but I think at one point there was no like power. Like we had like flashlights and like I think people had candles and stuff like that.
And this is the Superdome, I'm guessing, right after or such.
Yeah. Yep, and all the military troops.
But I mean, you can see that Hummer driving through and just plowing through water.
Yeah.
In full disclosure, that's probably what, September 2nd?
Yeah, that's like probably, that's about, I want to say like a week after, or like even a few days after, like maybe like 4 or 5 days after, something like that.
And here's another picture of just how high the water is compared to the bridges. Like that's pretty insane.
Yeah.
That's an
National Guard troops were out there, right?
They were out there after the fact. Like they got called, and then they, what do you call it? Try to relieve us all, basically. I guess that's the terminology.
State of emergency,
yeah, because we were in a state of emergency, like
ASAP.
once it got to landfall. Like once it got to landfall, it went from a category 3 to a 5. Like
right.
Like that.
I mean, this is
it was so quick, nobody knew what to do, you know.
And for
and
reference,
it's kind of
sorry.
Yeah.
For reference, this is an interstate exit.
Yeah. And you see the signs on the bottom, like the interstate signs. Yeah.
Down near the bottom. That's crazy.
Yeah. It was crazy.
All
Definitely crazy.
So some other things you saw, I know were pretty graphic, and I'm not going to bring up like some graphic images, but these images help kind of describe.
Sent a video over to you too.
Yeah, I saw it.
More than 50,000 men and women were on the ground on August 20th.
Oh yeah, we saw some gnarly stuff. Okay, so I can explain this a little bit too for those that don't know. So like once everything happened, once everybody was trying to figure out like what was going on, the military and the FEMA people. So FEMA, I'm not going to get too much into FEMA, but they're basically the national like people that basically help in a national disaster. So basically you see the red, like the OA, the 9/11. So that's basically saying how many people died and how many people are alive in that building, or in that house, and that was on everybody. I don't know exactly what NC means.
Okay, so moving clockwise, the top of the X identifies the time and date the team arrived. Moving clockwise, the next summarizes the hazards and horrors found within. Then in that last quadrant at the X at the bottom was rescue workers, listed the number of people found inside.
Yeah, so 0. Nobody was found in that one. So that's good. That's good. You don't ever see like you know, because there was a bunch of houses and they did it on houses, like on all the houses, like not just in New Orleans, but it was in my town. I mean, it was, you would see that on all the houses.
There you go.
Yeah, there's another one. So
and this one, not a good one.
No, not a good one. There's 12 people, or no, 1 person, I think. 1 person and 2 people that were helping, or the rescue workers. 2.
That's what it was.
Yeah, so 1 person was found in that house, and like I said, a lot of like the old timey people, like the elderly people, you know, kind of stubborn, not trying to be mean, but like they just didn't want to leave because like I said, nobody thought that it was gonna get like to where it got, and so.
And then, for example, this is a door and a mailbox. So a mailbox is usually like shoulder height ish.
All right.
Or so.
Yeah, it's water.
Yeah. I didn't know what was going on in that image, and I was like, that's water.
Yep.
Which is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
All right.
Did y'all see anything graphic, if you will?
Oh yeah. I mean, it was crazy. My mom like tried to like hide me from like seeing that because naturally, as a parent, you don't want your kids seeing stuff like that. But it's kind of hard not to see it, you know, if that makes sense. So yeah, I saw some gnarly stuff. I think the most gruesome thing that I did see, and not get into like the nitty gritty, but there's a tree on top of basically, you know.
Oh.
Yeah, it's just like people, you know, just didn't want to evacuate, and so you had people just kind of roaming the streets, and that's just kind of like what happened.
I'd say one of the craziest things that I've seen is nothing crazy, but like I know we had talked about you taking field trips to Six Flags.
Oh yeah, I can kind of.
And Six Flags, I mean, this is a bump in Six Flags Park as any other Six Flags Park is.
Yeah. Like... So I went on a field trip. So yeah, that's what. Yeah. So I went on a field trip in 6th grade. We went to a field trip to Six Flags, and I remember because my mom like bought me 3 monsters. And like because I think I stayed with a friend that night, the night before that I was supposed to go to Six Flags, and yeah, it's crazy to even think that it's an abandoned amusement park now, because like after Katrina, like they just didn't want to rebuild it. It was a lot of money to have to like rebuild all that shit. So like yeah,
I don't blame them.
I mean, this is what a roller coaster looks like.
Yeah, that's what it looks like now.
Like there's a loop in there. And you can't even see it. And hey, if you guys are coming into the chat, sorry if we miss your comments or anything. We're just kind of talking, and if you guys need to drop any questions or would like Whitney to answer any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. We can all 3 see the chat, all 4 see the chat actually. So.
Yep, I can see you guys.
If you guys have anything that you want to ask or some input.
I mean, if you're new here, we're just talking about Katrina and how I survived it.
Yep, and we're talking about Six Flags. Like this is a Six Flags amusement park right here.
Yeah, that's what it looks like underwater.
Absolutely crazy. Like I've watched documentaries about this park and people going in there, and like there's literally alligators in the parks now.
Yeah.
It's a big swamp now, and like I think the mayor just. I don't think they had the funds to really. I mean, obviously they didn't have much funds, you know, to really. I think they focused on more important things like they, getting the businesses up, because a lot of people were out of work like for months and months, and like nobody was able to survive on that. I mean, luckily, like people got checks like eventually to kind of.
That's a very
help.
loaded answer that goes into politics and stuff. So.
Yeah, but yeah, so like, but like I think the mayor, was more focused on rebuilding than focusing on like an amusement park.
Right.
So
necessities. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I hope one day that they can, rebuild it, because like it's still there. It's still like, standing, but they have a lot of stuff they need to rebuild.
Tim was here.
Yeah, that's the
I mean, that's relations. That's where you get your tickets.
Yeah. It was crazy.
Yeah, that's one of, I mean, I wouldn't say that's cool, but that's one of the like whenever I think of it, of course I think of the bad stuff, but then I think of like this theme park it's crazy to see something that we can relate to, because we have so many around here. Like, imagine if Kings of Minion or Busch Gardens looked like that. Like,
Yeah, and that was the only amusement park around, like, really, and that was like a staple in New Orleans. Like, that's where we went to field trips, and like my mom, would take me every now and again, and so like to see that like completely just gone is crazy.
For sure. Here's one more photo of it. Here, this one.
Yeah. It's nothing but swamp now.
That's a roller coaster.
And on the flip side now, I mean, besides it, it's completely ruined and just nothing left. As photographers, the three of us at least, there's a little bit of me that says that would be interesting. Yeah.
It would be. It's really. I don't think like you can get. I'm sure they have it patrolled or
locked off.
Locked off and stuff. But I mean, people get in there all the time.
Yeah.
People.
That's urban photography for you.
Oh yeah.
Urbex. Yeah.
Like, I haven't been back to New Orleans since I was 18. So like I've been trying my hardest to try to make a trip there, because like I want to see. Because like even at age 18, like I said, it was like 5 years after the fact, and so they were still rebuilding. So I'd like to see what it looks like now compared to like what I saw during Katrina, then what I saw 5 years after Katrina, and now it's like 18 years.
So this picture may not. All right, this picture may not be the best, but this is that road we looked at earlier. They blow this bad boy up. Terrible quality, but
that's what it looked like, and then what it looked like during Katrina. Yeah.
That's
completely gone.
Yep. Crazy. Okay. Let's keep bumping these
I remember
questions.
seeing all that stuff on the news.
Yeah, I need to watch the there's like a like an hour or so long documentary on Katrina. I think it's on YouTube, maybe, I'm not sure, but highly suggest if you guys haven't seen it or know much about Katrina, or just want to like see what happened in a more depth field, then I highly suggest it. If you type in Katrina documentary on YouTube, it should be like the first one.
And there's also like lighter shows to watch too. I know a pro skateboarder, Rick McCrank, does a show called Abandoned, and he goes and skateboards at these abandoned places. And he actually went to that Six Flags, and then they went to like skate parks around New Orleans just to see like what these kids are doing to skate now. And they still shows like the worst areas of New Orleans. Like there's still like very, very bad areas because there's no money. They're just not rebuilding those sections. They just let those sections go down. But I mean, it is what it is,
Yeah.
What was the hardest part of it, Whit?
I think seeing my mom sad, that basically we had nowhere to go.
Right.
Seeing her, upset and stuff like that, I think that was the hardest thing, because like, I I was always the one to kind of take care of things. I mean, I know at that age, I shouldn't have been worried about that stuff, but like a lot of other things were occurring in our lives. So like, just seeing her upset and her trying to figure out things and me being as young.
Reality set in pretty quick at that age,
You don't understand. You don't know, like, we have all these nice things and like we have all and then once it's all gone, it's like, what do you do? Like, you just break down, and so like my mom was pretty strong, as far as like keeping her cool and trying to do the best for me, but like, it's still, it was still hard for her, not to like give up, if that makes sense. So
do you lose any friends?
No, so we didn't really.
That's
I don't think. Yeah, I don't think. I mean, as far as I know, like I didn't lose any friends. We didn't lose anybody that we knew. So most of our family. I have a couple family members that lived in New Orleans, but they were, kind of smart about it and evacuated or left the city in its entirety. Like I said, we would have went to my aunt's house the moment that we got evacuated, like the mandatory evacuation, but they lived like 2 hours away. So it was either, risk going 2 hours away and not making it because of all the debris, or, because it started pretty bad. Like it wasn't like bad, like flooded bad, but it was getting to that point and there was a bunch of debris. So it's either drive the 2 hours or go 25-30 minutes down the street, so we chose the lighter route.
Right.
Hi, Chloe. How are you?
Chloe's in the chat. Everybody say hey to Chloe.
Hey. We're just talking about some stuff.
So how crowded was, what was the Superdome when you were there? I would imagine there was a bunch of people, but.
I mean, there was all kinds of people, like literally all kinds of people. You have people like families, you have homeless people, you have police officers, you have political people in there. I mean, the mayor was in there. Guests or news people were in there doing newsreels. I mean, kids, babies, pregnant people. I mean, there was all kinds of people. So like, it was a lot of people, and it was scary because like being 14-year-old female in a Superdome with your mom, like you have a bunch of those type of people that, my mom tried to keep me as close as she could.
Right. I was
like she never let me out of her sight. Like if she went to go smoke, I went to go with her. Like if she went to the bathroom, vice versa. And like and the showers there were gross too. Oh, it was so gross. You had to like they, it's kind of like a line. Like if you're at King's Dominion or Busch Gardens and there's like a line, you basically like had a line of just people. Like, oh, it was crazy.
Right, waiting to take a shower.
Yeah, and they had
They have rules. Like
yeah, there was rule like during like the biggest like point of Katrina, like nobody was allowed outside. Like you couldn't go outside, you couldn't do anything. You just had to kind of sit there and wait for it to end. And there was like a curfew kind of thing where people like had to be quiet at a certain time, and like obviously there's people that aren't going to listen to the rules, so like there's a lot of like there's a lot of fights that happened.
Oh wow.
A lot of fights. I mean, people were upset, so like it's something that you couldn't really contain. But like I said, there was police officers and stuff there too, so like they were there to kind of help ease everyone's issues with other people, I guess.
And for anybody wondering, I'm pulling up a photo right now of what the Superdome actually looked like during that time compared to what it looks like now, so get an idea of like.
Yeah,
This is what it looked. This is what a Superdome looked like then. All this water around. You can see all this water down here in the bottom right-hand corner too.
Oh yeah, they did a fantastic job at rebuilding it. Like it looks brand new now.
Yeah, it's
but it got a lot of water damage. As you can see in the photo, like I mean, there's a lot of water damage. There's a lot. It took them a long time to rebuild.
Wow, that's a big photo. Jesus.
Holy crap.
Why is this photo so mid?
How many lives were lost
Mike,
with Katrina? What was the total number
can you get
lost?
the total again, Mike?
It was 1,833.
Yeah, so it was a lot. Luckily, no one I knew, like none of my family members, none of like people that I knew directly were injured or died or anything like that. But I know some people like that I was friends with, some of their family members might have passed.
Yeah, so to give the conditions she was living in, this is it.
Yeah, and you see all those little white dots, those are people and troops and FEMA people. Like they had a bunch of after, like once the water started to die down and stuff like that, like what it looked like in that picture, they had like FEMA trailers out where people could go, and they had on-site nurses and stuff like that to also help, because a lot of people that didn't get to evacuate that survived it, living in their own homes and stuff, they needed medical attention and stuff.
I'm putting up some more images. Gives us context as well. You can save images so fast on Google.
Yeah.
Well, what was like if there was like one thing to take away from the experience, because not everybody will experience hurricanes in the world, but the United States.
Yeah, that's those are the uncomfortable cots.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll share.
Yeah.
That was just a little. And that was a little section. That wasn't even the entire, like that was literally like probably a fourth of it.
I'll share a few images before we get into that next question real quick. You can kind of see what it
Yeah,
looks
that's
like.
just the debris from the freaking tornadoes.
And then there's one more. Where'd you go? Yeah, I mean, you had people outside. And then, you had people inside, but then, this is outside. This is what it looked like. That's just debris. That's crazy. Hey, what's up, Rebel?
That's nuts.
Thank you for coming in.
Hello, Rebel.
And if we missed your comment or anything, feel free to copy and paste it and drop it again. We've just been having some...
She said, oh my god, that's a long ad. Yeah.
Hey, I'm sorry, okay? But you know what can stop ad? Uncle Bezos.
Uncle Bezos.
Good to have you in.
Hello.
And congrats on making Team
everyone.
XO today. Congrats on that.
Yeah,
that's
congrats, Rebel.
Oh, congrats.
Great.
Yeah, I heard about there's some
Also-
conversation about that today.
Yeah, it was a good time. But yeah, if we missed anything that you guys are dropping, just drop it again. We'll catch back up to it. And if you have any questions for Whitney, of course, we didn't live through this. Whitney did.
Definitely let me know, because I can answer to the best of my knowledge.
And this video is also going to be downloaded and put on YouTube in case you guys are interested in watching it. If you miss,
or those that missed it, or whatnot, what have ya.
Yeah, here's one more photo I want to share real quick. Not that one.
That was crazy too. That's just like
Debris. Yeah, we shared that image already.
tornadoes just
Here's,
destructed everything.
God damn, that's a big image. Hold on.
That's what she said.
Oh,
Hey.
dude.
What?
Hey, it's not about the size of the image.
Imagine her sending you a big image.
It's the
Dude.
hey, just right click and
Shut up, Mike. I'm kidding. Let me do it how I want, okay?
Yeah,
Look, it's full screen now, okay?
Wow, dude.
That's kind of how big it was. I mean, you had seated area around the entire thing, but just imagine like a huge indoor football, thing,
Yeah,
and
yeah, it is.
and that was I'm assuming after the cleanup, basically, once everybody
you had to
was
sleep there too, right? Because this lasted days.
Yep. Yeah, it was like a week or 2 weeks, something like that. I can't really remember off the top of my head, but we were there for a little bit.
But weren't they also moving people to Atlanta?
Yeah, so they started because they reached the capacity. Like they basically didn't have cots for everybody. And I mean, you think like everybody, not even in New Orleans, but on the outskirts, like how we were, like we're all coming to the Superdome because that was the only safest place, unless like you had, you know, a house that had a nice basement, but even the basements could get flooded and stuff. And so like that was the only safe haven for people. So they were like escorting people to like either Atlanta or even Mississippi. Like they were trying to, I think they even went to, what is it? I'm trying to think, Tennessee and stuff like that. But yeah, they definitely were escorting people out.
One more image for size comparison.
An interesting fact that I just learned, and you could read into this however you want.
Yeah, that's how big it is.
All the stuff's out there, but Amtrak, before the storm hit, ran equipment out of the city and had rooms for several hundred people. And
I mean, I just read there was no flooding in airport terminals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What? Interesting.
Read into that how you want.
Yeah.
Clip that.
We won't go into that too much, but
yeah, it's a very sticky situation.
It's kind of the same mantra for everything surrounding that kind of exasperated everything. But
Right.
And I'm just going through sharing. I'm just going through just saving photos just so everybody can get a little bit of context on how this was. Because I know there's
Did
a couple.
Did you get that photo Mike sent?
Yeah, just
it kind of gives a little bit. We already went into that discussion, but that way people can kind of like know.
That's interesting. I looked that up for me, and
I'll bring this up again too, actually. So let's bring this up real quick because I know there's some people in the UK. So I mean, I'm not sure of the news coverage that was going on over there.
Yeah.
Hold on, let me find it. I got like 8,000 Katrina photos on my desktop now. Okay, all right.
That's why you put it in a folder, bud.
Can you shut up?
Got him.
Just chill, Dad, please. All right,
Wow, dude.
Hold on.
Imagine not putting it in a folder.
I lost track. Okay. So, this is one of the things that you would see on houses during Katrina.
You can kind of see the water too, the water line.
And then let me read this again real fast. Just on what I've seen.
So that's a CA2F2.
So at the top of the X would be the time and the date. The time or the date the team arrived. Moving clockwise, then summarize the hazardous and horrors found. So you got nothing here, I guess.
Yeah, no entry.
And then it would be at the bottom, you would get the number of workers listed with the number of people. So you found one worker and 2 people. But some of these, I mean, you could.
And if you saw DB, so that's they found 2 people, but they weren't dead probably. But if you saw DB, then
this is what the X meant. So you got time and date of rescue team, the hazardous present. So on that image that we just had, we had no injury, so that was that.
Oh, nothing, yeah.
And then number of lives, and then victims found. Number of live and dead, actually, so number of live and dead victims found. So going back to this image, not to be super dreary about this, but it's something that we need to discuss.
Yeah, because not a lot of people know.
So this one would be 1 alive and 2 dead, if we're reading that correctly.
Yeah. And then on where it says CA2F2, that's the team that was there to assist.
Yeah.
The rescue team.
It's interesting too, like, me looking that up, how many people were involved trying to save people, basically. The first responders and I mean, you got everybody on this list.
You had California National Guard.
I mean, everybody and their grandmas were over there trying to do what they could, on top of like the FEMA people and stuff like that.
Because that one we just shared was California in it, right? It was Cat.
Yeah.
Yeah, so California was another one. Yeah,
So it's just, it's the DEA.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I don't mean to laugh,
Drugs.
but hey,
No,
any hands are good hands.
Yeah.
And they know what they're doing. They know how to find some stuff.
Oh, yeah.
You're not wrong about that.
Let's give some shout outs to everybody who's helping out this real quick. So we got Mustachio Mike. We have Bandana. So we don't even have Doc Crybaby.
I was in there.
I don't see you anymore. I was gonna give you... You're gone.
Wow, Dave.
Oh, there you are. There's Doc Crybaby. So these are the people that are running this. You got Mustachio Mike's down here in the over here. Here.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's got a mustache. Whitney Doc Crybaby is up there in the corner. And then right here, because Matt doesn't have a camera, he has a face for radio. He's right here. He's the little guy from Mystery Science Theater.
Your mom would love.
Okay. And then right beside Matt, Bandana Salt, we have some Hurricane Katrina coverage, like news little clippings.
We got that guy Philly over here.
And then over here, it's me, baby. That guy Philly. I'm telling you, on Mondays we're cuter than everybody you know. On Tuesdays? On Mondays we're cuter than everybody you know. On Tuesdays you can see all my man meat in my taco suit. Okay, don't make it weird.
Still doing that, huh?
It's my thing. I've kind of coined it now.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you can see everything going on. Hey, Nan, you got any questions? You've been a little quiet down there.
I've been in and out of the freaking Twitch stream because Comcast can't get their ish together.
Damn, dude. Feels bad.
Wait, was there like one thing that kind of you took away from it all, whether it's positive, negative, or whatever? A survival tactic,
I mean, this is not
not a survival tactic, but I know it's wrong choice of words.
No, I get it. So like, I guess the positive thing that I kind of, because I was young, so like I wasn't really thinking of like survival or anything like that. But
yeah.
But at the same time, like a positive thing is like don't take things for granted. Like things could, don't. Like, I'm trying to think of the right word to say, but basically like don't wait till the last minute. Like if something is going to occur, like even if it's a storm, that is any kind of hurricane, kind of like that, like just don't wait till the last minute. Like that's the thing. I mean, I guess I can't really do anything. I can prepare myself a little bit better than what we did. So like if, a hurricane or anything like that were to occur, like I would definitely prepare myself now than I would have, or what my mom would have done. So that kind of taught me how to like, prep for that. And I guess
because Mother Nature will win if she wants to.
Oh yeah, you can't
beat Mother Nature.
Well, Mother Nature is very unpredictable.
Yes.
Yep.
You can prepare all you want. I mean, I wish that we would have prepared a little bit more than what we did. So that kind of taught me like, okay, if something like that were to happen here, like any kind of hurricane, like I would prep a little bit better. But at the same time, like you can prep all day long, but it's still gonna be, crazy.
Right.
I think that's like the only thing really. I mean, it's just crazy thinking back by it and thinking like, that I was a part of it, like seeing all the crazy shit and seeing like everyone working as a community to try to get things back on track. Because like, I mean, yeah, FEMA was there. Yeah, like the mayor of our town and the mayor of New Orleans and all kinds of other people were getting together. But even people like in the neighborhoods, and everybody was literally outside, like raking up debris and filling bags and bags and bags full. So it like taught me to like try to be grateful for what I have and not.
Were you part of those efforts? I mean, I know you were 14, but did you like
yeah,
get
me
in
and my
there
mom
and, like, start filling bags and
me and my mom helped out. We I think there was like a neighborhood like across the street, well, a little down the road across the street that we were helping. And I also helped with like the water, because they had like big like not stations, but like forts basically of like water jugs and stuff that people you could literally go up to and just grab. I think they had like a limit per family or something like that, but that you can just grab, because obviously like there's no electricity, so like how are you going to take a shower, how are you going to, there's no water supply coming out, so like you had to basically bathe in jugs of water. So but yeah, I helped out a little bit, like my mom and we would rake up stuff like that, and pretty much try to help clean up the neighborhood as much as we could. But yeah, it was crazy.
That's good. We seen the photos and stuff, but what were the conditions like at the Superdome? Were they awful, as because the media will like gas it all the way up to a million?
I mean, I'm sure it was better than the latter.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, like I said, like it was just like, just imagine a huge area filled with all kinds of different people. I mean, you had pregnant people, you had homeless, you had criminals, really. But luckily there was like, police officers and stuff like that, and yeah, there was fights that broke out. I mean, there was just all kinds of different people. You had babies, kids smaller than me, like, I mean, there is just all kinds of people.
So so basically what you're saying, it was not normal, but like it wasn't like over the top as like,
it was
the media
definitely it was definitely, I mean, the media is always going to exaggerate things,
because normal doesn't sell. Let's just be honest. Like if you turn on normal,
it wasn't normal. It was definitely not normal. There were just so many people there, and also like you just had all kinds of different people too. Like it was a very what is the right word, diverse sets of people were there.
And those people that weren't there, like you hear it and you're like, oh my god, these poor people. But like, not everybody's experience obviously is not like that, right?
Like I'm sure if I were older and understood things more at that time, like I probably would have said, oh my god, it's horrific. Like my mom, like she doesn't really talk about it, and I haven't really talked to my mom in a while, but like from what she told me, like, I mean, we were scared. I mean, we didn't. I was, like I said, I was 14. I was a young girl, and so like, you had all kinds of people in the building. So like my mom's number one, priority was to keep me safe and make sure nobody like tried any funny business,
Right.
And for everybody that came in late today or just missed some things, I just put a link in the chat, the Google Drive link. It'll take you to all the images we've shared today. It'll also show you the starting soon screen, which is a day-by-day coverage video of how it happened, of what happened. And then this little video that's playing in the corner, that video is also in that folder as well for you to watch. Everything's there if you need it, if you'd like to check it out. I know, like I said, some of you people are from the UK, so I don't know what kind of coverage happened over there. I'm sure there was coverage over there, because it's a
nationwide thing.
I mean, it's
a worldwide,
an earth-shattering natural disaster.
Yeah.
But it's there if you guys want to check it out.
Do they get hurricanes in the UK? Like, is that a thing?
I mean, I would imagine.
Monsoon.
Monsoon.
Flo, you there?
Yeah.
Yeah, please let us know, like, if you guys like get like huge storms or anything, because like that's something I just thought about. Like, do they get hurricanes?
Well, I think Rebel, you're from the UK, correct? Am I correct on that, or am I just thinking of somebody else? I don't know. What about Melons? What kind of storms do you get up there? Do you guys get hurricanes, like big storms up there? I know you guys get a shit ton of snow. You had like hella snow last year.
A fun fact, so it never snowed in New Orleans. Like, never. Like, I don't think I've ever seen snow until I came here. So, yeah, we used to, it used to there wasn't really like a winter. Like we would get, summer.
Cyclones, not monsoons. That's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, we would get like summer, fall, and then slight winter. Like it wasn't even like, I think the coldest it would get would be like 50, but that's like on a bad day.
Melon said in Canada, no, we don't get snowstorms, and this year we just started getting tornadoes.
No, she said we don't, just snowstorms.
Yeah, no big storms or hurricanes. They just get snowstorms.
Yeah.
Just this year we started getting tornadoes. That's wild.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I wonder what a Canadian tornado looks like. Are they bad storms? I mean, I'm sure it's a tornado.
Global warming, dude.
Yeah, right.
It's definitely global warming.
Canadian tornado is a
what?
This. It's a light blow because they're nice.
A light blow.
Because they're nice. The tornado just passes and just says something Canadian to them.
Oh, sorry about that.
It drops bacon.
I'll clean it up later.
And poutine.
I had a moment.
Poutine.
I'm a hot tornado.
But they get hella snow there. Like, I mean, Mel sent photos last year when it snowed. Or
I remember.
Last winter, and it was just like crazy amounts of snow. That's something we don't get here. I mean, we the last snowstorm we've gotten here.
Poutine.
I think the last big snowstorm we had here was like
2010.
I mean,
no.
But that wasn't even that wasn't huge. But there was one before that in like the early 2000s that was wild. I remember
it was
that
an ice storm.
Yeah, which is worse than a snowstorm if you guys don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But we had a pine.
It was 2010. It was a big one. Yeah.
I mean, we had a pine tree in our front yard that it froze over so bad that it split in half and just kind of fell like this, like the whole thing. He said, "Yeah, tons of snow. Sometimes we open the door and it's halfway up the door. Sometimes higher."
Dang, I wish it would snow like that one time here.
Oh my gosh, no.
What about you, UK people? Do you guys have any? Big storms over there? So, oh yeah, I hate ice storms. Can't even go outside. Yeah, it's.
I remember it snowed that one when we were living at the townhouse. Like it snowed that big, like that one time where like I couldn't even get outside.
But probably
go to work.
Nothing compared to the snow that Mel sees.
No, yeah, I don't think I've ever seen it snow that much.
All right, well, Matt, you got any more questions for Whit?
Oh man, that's it, man.
Mike, you got any?
I do have one quick story. I was thinking about hurricanes. The last hurricane that came through all the way to Richmond. For those of y'all that don't know, most of us here live in the Richmond, Virginia area, which is East Coast United States. So the last one, so I think it was 2010.
Ooh, the
actually,
year
the
I
last one was
graduated.
2018, but
was it 2018?
the last
there's some
big
mochi.
one was 2012.
You can see Mochi in the back.
2012.
That was Hurricane Sandy.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so I think it was that one. So I was downtown, and I worked at the Marriott downtown, and we were
You can see a
open,
Mochi belly.
and we were like a same thing as what we had people. We were taking people in because it was that bad. So I had this suit. It was basically like a biker suit kind of a thing. You know, it's a onesie thing. Put it on, and I walked to work. It was probably like a mile or two, maybe a mile or so. The winds were coming in. The rain was coming in. And basically, I stayed there for like overnight, I think it was. And then the hurricane was gone the next day because we were open and we had power and we were trying to, house people, give them food, all that stuff. But as far as being outside when the hurricane is like actually hit, I mean, at that point, it's like I don't know if it was still a hurricane in Richmond, but it's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
I mean,
like,
just to give
that's the closest I've been.
Just to give context on Hurricane Sandy, which was in 2012. It was the largest. It's recorded as the largest Atlantic hurricane on record, measured by diameter. So that's Atlantic. That hit higher up than it would have hit with you. But it was also a category. It was a category 3. And
just for context, too, Katrina started in the Atlantic.
Yeah, it started in the Atlantic. It hit Florida first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then it hit more north than it did south. Like it hit Cuba as a category 3, then weakened to a category 1, and then went back up and hit up here in like the northeast. Yeah, northeast. But it hit a category 3 at its intensity again. So I mean, and then not to be dreary, but compared to the amount of lives lost, it killed 233 people across 8 countries, from the Caribbean to Canada. That's a long way.
Yeah.
I mean, Katrina was, what, 1,200 we said? 1,100?
Something like that.
I'm trying to think of that hurricane that hit during, it would have been when we were in middle school, Matt.
Was it Ivan?
Oh, y'all are in middle school.
It would have been while we were in middle school. But I can't, because I know there was a tree that fell that blocked Harrogate for like, it was like 2 weeks, dude.
What,
Was it Ivan?
Let's see.
Or was it,
Hurricane Sandy that came up the middle of,
Sandy, Irene?
Ivan was in 2004.
It was Sandy that came up through Colonial Heights, and Colonial Heights bad. And
I was gonna say Ivan was before Katrina.
it was Sandy, bro.
Yeah.
When did
it
Sandy
went
come?
back out in the it went back on the ocean 2012.
No,
I was in middle.
This would have been
school.
earlier than that. I wasn't in middle school in 2012.
Okay, I'm thinking of Hurricane Andrew, but y'all weren't born. I don't think at that.
Oh wait,
that age.
I would have been. I would have been in middle school. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
No, it's not right. I graduated in 08. No, that's not right. It would have
What
been.
are you talking
It
about,
would have
dude?
been the hurricane that hit when I was in middle school. It would have been Ivan.
Yeah, it might have been Ivan.
Yeah.
When did Hurricane Andrew hit? 90.
Ivan was in 2004.
84, 85. Let me think.
Yeah, I wasn't even thought about Mike.
Mike was living hurricanes before we even knew what hurricanes were.
You're sitting all in your daddy's nuts.
Mike was living hurricanes when we were in the womb, dude. He was like, I got
I
this.
wasn't
y'all.
even in the womb.
Mike was like, hold my beer.
Hold my bear.
Hold my bear. Just wait till you get to this yet. These are called hurricanes. You gotta watch out for them. All right.
They're kind of scary.
But hurricanes are crazy, and we appreciate you coming on, Doc, to talk about this. I know it's a pretty crazy thing. Hey, what's up, Havoc?
Definitely.
It's a pretty crazy thing.
And
to
if
talk
anyone
about.
like gets any like questions later down or wants to know like anything else, like I kind of went into a brief discussion about it.
Yeah,
But I mean, like I said, you can go to YouTube and you can definitely like type in Katrina like documentary, and a lot of people will go into more depth. I'm just bad about explaining things sometimes, but like from what I can remember, that's just kind of my gist.
I mean, you were also a middle teen.
Yeah.
Right.
So
I was literally just now figuring out the world.
Yeah, and then the world crumbled below you. Like, literally.
Yep, it did.
So yeah, we plan on doing a weekly version of this. Not talking to Doc every week, but she's gonna be here every week. But we plan on doing a weekly version of this where we're gonna be sharing. We're gonna be talking to some creators, of course. We're gonna be getting in touch with a couple creators. We're gonna be doing movie reviews. If you guys are interested in that, some music reviews, depending, because me, Mike, and Matt have very diverse music taste. That could be something we talk about. Movies would definitely be a thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's so much.
We love some movies, and there's a ton of movie trailers that we're gonna react, and there's a ton of trailers that I'm gonna react on by myself. But then there's also a ton of trailers that we're gonna react to together as well. And it'll be the same format as this, where we're all here. Eventually, Matt will gain a face for video, but right now he has a face for radio. You know, we can't
A
fault
voice
him.
for radio.
A voice for radio. A face for radio. A face for radio because you don't see faces either on radio. So kind of both, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, we're gonna do this probably once a week, maybe Thursdays and maybe Fridays, just depending on everybody's schedule.
All right.
And stream
Probably
schedules.
Thursdays because that would work best for me.
But you don't stream on Thursday, so that works for you. But yeah, this is what we're gonna do.
Or the weekend too.
Yeah, weekends are iffy for us sometimes though, because we have weddings.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, that's gonna probably be it for our surviving Katrina